morning, everybody. I wanted to take a special moment this morning to share with you two questions that I got from one of your classmates and my answers because I feel like these are questions that could benefit everyone in the class. And I also thought I'd take an opportunity to use one of my other tools in my toolkit so that some of you could actually see me rather than just hear my voice. So, first question. If prerequisite skills are skills that you should walk into the classroom with, then why does the instructional designer write learning objectives for them? And that's a great question. And it's somewhat of a controversial process. There are those in instructional design who find that this is a pointless activity, and they really don't think that we should teach it. However, there are others who feel that instructional design students benefit from framing the expectation in terms of an actual objective. So the learner can versus the learner will. Now, from my standpoint, I feel like it's a beneficial exercise because it gets you experience in how to write out objectives and going through that process, whether or not they actually get used in a class or shown to a student or not. So, since this is an entry-level course, and by the way, we do have an advanced instructional design course if you're interested in taking that from our department. But since this is an introductory course that tries to prepare a variety of students, some of you are in nursing, some of you are in K-12 education, some of you work for city government, some of you work for community colleges and other institutions, and some of you just work in industry doing other jobs and thought this would be an interesting class to take. So as you can see, we have a broad variety of students and contexts. So I feel like it's a useful exercise because you could find yourself in any number of situations, and you may actually have to write these out for a stakeholder someday. Sometimes the factors you deal with are going to remain constant, like working within a specific hospital system or a specific school district or university system. And a lot of the steps you have gone through will remain constant over time, but sometimes these factors will change. It could be a different client, it could be a change in internal regulations. But having gone through the full process at least once, you have that knowledge and background that you can tap into to adjust the way you work in the future. So, having gone through that process in as much detail as possible, that's an exercise in learning the full process. So hopefully, at least my hope, the way I'm preparing you, is that regardless of what you practice and where you practice, you'll find that there are aspects or steps that you may skip or alter based off of what you need. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, question number 2. How far back does one go when thinking about prerequisite skills? Where do you draw the line? Again, another excellent question. So when you're dealing out the prerequisite skills that you expect your learners to have, you need to think about what primary statement, task or objective, would make the most sense to the learner, the stakeholders, you as the instructional designer. It's very easy to get detailed. In fact, once you start down this process, you begin to find yourself in the weeds and you have to work your way back out. So, to help you with this, my recommendation is to take a step back, think about 1 to 3, if I can get my fingers to work here, prerequisites that directly impact the ability to accomplish the series of tasks that you've detailed to meet your goal. The other way to think about this, if one goal is the prerequisite for the next, and this was something that came up in the discussion boards if you followed along, you wouldn't detail out every little task for that goal, that first goal, as a prereq for the second goal. Instead, you would simply state that goal as a prereq for the second goal in task objective format. So this holds true for any general goal and prerequisite skill. One statement that conveys a series of tasks required in order to build upon existing knowledge to create new knowledge and skills. So, I try to walk you through this process in a brainstorming fashion, coming up with as many as possible, because sometimes that's the hardest step. Once you take that step, then you suddenly have all these ideas out there to deal with. And now you have to go, okay, wait, what am I dealing? What is the primary statement that will give me what I need. So brainstorming and getting into the details tends to help in the beginning to help you get more of a flow process. And this becomes easier later down the road. You'll find that you can look at a statement and go, oh, yeah, they need to be able to do XYZ. And that's the general statement to come up with the prerequisite. So this brainstorming process I have you go through to try to get detailed and come up with as many as possible is an exercise or practice in getting into this. Once you get into it, you may find that you can just have one statement that says this is the prereq. Or if you're in K-12, the prereq could simply be completion of a previous grade or a previous subject area. And that's the answer to the question about how far to go back with prerequisite skills. I hope that this has been a useful little chat. And if you have questions in the future that you would like to see me do this for, I'm happy to do it. Of course, we only have 3 weeks left in the semester, so I am kind of sad that it just came to me to answer questions this way. However, if you have me for another class in the future and remember this little episode, then please feel free to remind me to use it as a tool for helping you guys. Have a great week.